Hello beautiful people, welcome to my channel. If we haven't connected before, my name is Sarah Britton and my channel is all about personal development, health and wellness, and I want to help pass on the tips that I've gathered throughout my journey and pass them on to you so that hopefully you can have some life hacks and move forward in your life and be living your best life and not take all the time that I've had to take to learn these lessons. So today, my video may bring up some emotion. Could call it triggering. That's where, suddenly you feel angry or sad or, whoa, what, God, she's pushing my buttons. So I'd really encourage you, if that happens for you, just to sit in it. Listen to me. Hear me out. Because, I'm a bit of an old soul now, and I'm an old earth woman on this plane, and I've learned a thing or two. And if I can pass it on to you, then I'm doing a good job. That's what I feel like anyway. So today I want to talk to you about victim mentality. And it's a tricky subject. Believe me, this is a few attempts down the line for the channel. So hopefully this one's gonna, be the one. So I'm feeling a little bit of a crazy vibe with myself today. So forgive me. But maybe that's what it takes to tackle these big subjects. So, victim mentality. When stuff happens to us in life, especially when we were small, trauma. Talked about it in my last video. If you didn't see it, then I'd encourage you to go back, have a look at my video on healing the inner child. And when we're young, we form ideas about ourselves, about the world around us, and sometimes they can not be helpful little patterns we've got into of thinking. And when we grow up and we're adults, we can find ourselves feeling like victims and thinking that everything in the world is happening to us. And why is it always happening to me? And then we talk about it and we wallow in it and we can't understand why things aren't working out for us. But I'm here to tell you, sorry folks, you attract it into your life. And it's a hard one. There's the first trigger. Law of attraction stuff. But when we have those beliefs about ourselves and they're running our subconscious mind, that's the energy we're giving out to the world. And guess what? We attract that stuff to us. It sticks to us and it's not nice. I'm not going to lie. It's not nice. And I've been that victim for a long time in my life. And we can get really attached to that belief system about ourselves. And we can tell all our friends about it and we can talk about it and everybody else is the bad guy and we are the good person. And we can't understand why all this shit is happening to us. But unfortunately, like I say, we are attracting it to us. Somebody that has their shit sorted out does not attract partners that treat them badly. No. And I know it's a really hard pill to swallow. Believe me, it was for me. But once you start taking ownership, responsibility for your part to play in the dynamic, you take your power back. When you take your power back, your whole life will change. If you're living in a situation where you've got narcissists or people in your life that are pushing your buttons and you're reacting to them and you're getting into the dialogue, or you're sucking it up even and going, but you're staying in that situation, you are playing the victim role. And if you are that person that talks about it constantly and is wallowing around in the whys and the whats and all the stuff, You're just gonna keep attracting it to you more. We're all vibration. We're energy. This physical thing we're in, this suit, is such a small part. We're 70% water. It might even be more than that. But, like, we're energy. We vibrate at a certain frequency. And if we do our personal work on ourselves, we actually raise our frequency. And guess what? We don't attract those people into our lives, those situations into our lives anymore. And that's why it's so important to practice that self-love and heal that inner child. And stop blaming everything on the outside world. I watched something just the other day about narcissist behaviour, and, they're the most wounded people. And I'm not giving them, like, permission to be narcissists. But, victims can be covert narcissists and they're not even realising it. We've all met that person, you meet them, how are you? And they'll go, oh, how are you? They're not really interested because they just want to launch into all their problems. And then you find yourself listening to it all, and trying to work it out for them. Maybe if you're an empath, you really feel it, you feel into it, you're like, oh, this poor person. And guess what? The victim, the person, has got, getting all this attention, and they're just feeding their own victim mentality. And it's really hard to break those patterns. But if you find yourself in those patterns where you're just constantly bringing up your shit, thinking about it, talking about it, start trying to change those thought processes. Start trying to do something, bring something into your life that feeds your soul. So you don't have to feel like the victim. You can't keep putting where you are in your life on other people, blaming your parents. I mean, God, like, people still blaming their parents and they die. And they're in their 80s, and they're still wallowing around in the whole thing about how shit their childhood was. I mean, that is allowing the situation, the person, the experience to have power over you. You have to take your power back. We are powerful energies, people, and we have to take responsibility for our life and how it is. If we've sat in a relationship with a narcissist for years on end, we signed up for that. It's not all on them. If you're not entering into dialogue with someone that's a gaslighter or a narcissist, look these terms up if you've never heard of them before. You might not even realise you're in that kind of situation with somebody that's abusive to you, because if you grew up in a family where physical, emotional, mental abuse were just everyday events, you actually attract to somebody just the same as that, and you think that's you think that's how it is. And on some level you might not like it, and that's why you're in the victim mentality and you're telling everybody about it, and people go, oh, and they give you things and they give you attention, and you feel like you're getting the love and the nurturing that you never got as a child. But guess what? You're feeding it. You're actually feeding it. And once you can realise that dialogue is not serving you, and that actually you're a powerful human being, you can have anything you want in your life. But sometimes you just got to, not sometimes, actually all the time, you got to take a deep dive into your own stuff, take responsibility for where you are, and start changing those patterns. Notice them, then change them. Believe me, this has been a massive journey for me to come to this place. And that's why I really am passionate about sharing this stuff with other people. For years I just blamed my situation on other people. But I was allowing it. I had no boundaries. Often victims have very poor boundaries because they didn't learn about boundaries from their parents. Their parents were unemotional, or they were neglectful, or there can be various reasons for it. But if you haven't got good boundaries in place about what's okay to let into your field and what, is not okay, then, you just kind of take whatever you get. And, I'm not saying leave your relationship, leave your job if you're working with people that are crossing your boundaries, but, you can work on your stuff. And you can say those things to people, start speaking up for yourself, open up that throat chakra. Because often people that are victims, well, they might be able to blah, blah, blah about their own stuff, but actually their boundaries are so poor, they've got stuff happening in their throat chakra. And they can't talk their truth. And often they'll be trying to mold themselves to what the person wants them to be. And they think, if I'm just good enough, if I'm just like this, then they'll love me. We're trying to fix them. And if we fix them, then they'll love us and we'll be okay. Oh my gosh. And yet, you know what? The only person we can fix is ourselves. The only person that we can take responsibility for is ourselves. And so I really urge you to find things that resonate with you. Find books, find teachers. There's so much out there on personal development. If I've triggered the shit out of you and you've probably switched off, but if you've stayed to this part, and stuff doesn't quite marry up, or maybe I've sown a few seeds, get out there and do your own research. Don't just take what somebody says to you as being truth. Find your own truth and work on that. Find the little things, find the little steps. Start doing little things, and then one day you'll find that, oh my gosh, things are turned around and actually my focus is different. And guess what? Shit's not happening to you anymore. You're attracting good stuff into your life. Trust me. I mean, it really is real. The law of attraction stuff is really real. It's not woo-woo. What we think about, what we talk about, what we feel about, especially what we feel, is what comes into our field. If you want to find the science about this stuff, listen to Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Bruce Lipton, Louise Hay, Wayne Dyer. I could go on and on and on and on. Eckhart Tolle, however you say his name. It's very easy it's not easy. Being the victim, believe me, it's not easy. It's actually a lot of suffering, and you're not meant to be in this world to suffer. You're meant to be in this world to have amazing lives. And if we're wasting all this time being in victim mode and blaming everything and everyone around us for our shit life, we can't step into all the gifts that we have in the world. So dive deep, people. Dive deep and know that you're a beautiful, beautiful soul with so much to give to the world. And when you do this, start doing this work, you can just chip away at it. Catch those moments when you're, full on and full blown. Actually, Abraham Hicks is another awesome one to listen to. Like he says, they say, I should say, go general. If you feel like you can't hold it in anymore and you've got to tell people about it, try and go general. Make it general. Don't make it specific. And if you can cut it short, if you can catch yourself and go, no, I'm not, I'm going to talk about something else, or I'm going to think a different thought. We can change anything in our lives. Don't ever think that you're stuck where you are, because you're not. Anyway, you can tell I'm passionate about this. And I really hope some of it resonates, and that's probably all from me. I'm going to tell you more in the next video, so subscribe and share this video if it resonates with you, and I'll see you next time.